Welcome back, everyone. I wanted to cover a couple of articles that I found of interest in this discussion of discrimination in Sweden. You all have an opinion, very, very strong opinions, some right, some I can't really attest to, some I agree with, a lot I agree with, but not every point. I respect those opinions as your own. I don't necessarily agree with them, all of them. And so I wanted to delve in and do a little bit more research and really not necessarily pick holes, but to show a balance by showing that not everything that is being said in the comments section by Swedish people with regards to foreigners is legitimate or accurate. So therefore, I picked up on something really rather alarming. I've got an article in front of me from The Local, which is a Swedish outlet. A teacher in Sweden is suspended after asking students to plan a hypothetical terror attack. Yes, you heard me right. And that is really, that article is from the 13th of December 2023, so it's not all that long ago. Swedish education chiefs have reported a teacher to the police after they allegedly asked students to plot a theoretical terror attack. The teacher is said to have handed out an assignment at a senior high school in the southern Sweden. It is a total lack of judgment. Not to mention we've got a raised terror attack threat level in this country. Henrik Nat Uchdag, head of education for gymnasium schools, which translates to upper secondary or senior high schools, said on Wednesday. School management found out about the incident on Friday and has suspended the teacher without pay pending the investigation. Staff, students and parents have been informed, according to the school. We're taking it very seriously and will also report it to the police. The teacher has not responded publicly to the allegations. So that one is pretty chilling enough. Maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't. And then there was another case of a Swedish authorities that investigated a teacher who harassed specifically Muslim students during a class. I've watched the video. I don't want to put anything up here for copyright purposes. I have watched the footage. I don't remember specifically this case being in international news outlets. Maybe it was. I mean, it was 2 years ago. Maybe it wasn't. I just don't remember, but I just don't recall a specific case. And 2 years ago, I would definitely been watching a lot of Swedish news. It is really rather chilling, to say the least, as well, and to actually see in real time in the recording that is actually happening, and how she's speaking to them, the tonality and cadence in which she uses, the sharpness, the aggression, and then refusing to allow the students to leave the class when they had verbally indicated to her that they were frightened. I mean, these were just children, these were girls, and beyond the bullying aspect of wanting the girls to repeat what was between a man's legs, and they repetitively said that they couldn't say it even though they knew the word, she continued to mock them. So that definitely falls under the category of bullying, to say the least. And then to close the door to prevent anybody from leaving. I don't know if it's Swedish law, but it definitely sounds like it could be a case for kidnap. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not just thinking out loud. I am saying, because it is a possibility, if you stop somebody from leaving against their will, it can cost you as kidnap, depending on the country's laws. And I find it staggering because at the very end of this news article or video, the Swedish government issued a statement pertaining to this teacher refusing to let the children that were terrified and voiced that on several occasions, and they wanted to leave. They have stated, all discrimination and violation against students are prohibited according to Swedish law. So covering themselves, which is understandable, they're not going to want that, but it's definitely something that shouldn't just be brushed under the carpet, nor should it just be something that is overlooked and forgotten about in days, weeks, months, or years to come. It's something that really does need to be duly noted. Then I want to acknowledge another one that I had, another story, entirely different story that I come across. A Swedish teacher tells her story to remix news about her torrent of abuse from immigrant students for being white and Christian. And then the story goes on into her details of what happened to her on a daily basis, or what she claims to have happened to her on a daily basis, and being called dirty because she's a white Christian, which is what you guys, Swedish people, in the comment section have been calling us, everybody that wasn't Swedish. The amount of people that have said that we were dirty foreigners, dirty immigrants, and the rest of it. Not that I'm saying, and I'm not saying this, that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I am not saying that. What I am saying is, none of this is okay. So why can't we have common ground and mutual respect that Sweden is not the only country, though the comments below would suggest that it were the only country that was really suffering from the inflation of perhaps the wrong type of people, put it that way. You can put it whatever way you want, that's just how I'm putting it for myself. The wrong type of people are coming in and they are destroying certain countries, perhaps every country in Europe, it would be debatable. And I would very much agree that Europe is no longer recognisable and is only going to get worse. I agree. What I don't agree with is people from European countries who are white and Christian, or whatever other colour, and we have the same principles, we have the same culture, baseline of understanding or acceptability or things that we are interested in, and we have rules that we adhere to that may not be considered the same elsewhere. Now, that said, that doesn't give you the right to then abuse the rest of European white Christians or other European Christians for the sake of a bad lot that may be coming and being destructive. We have the same issues in our country as does America, as does Australia more recently as well. It's everywhere that is feeling it, not just Sweden, and not that I always repeat and stress, none of it's okay, none of it's acceptable, and something does need to be done. But why do you feel the right that you have to just abuse everybody across the spectrum? That has been my question from day one. It's my question today. I can't get an answer to it because all I get is abuse of migrants, and you give me case by case by case of these migrants doing these awful, godforsaken things. That was neither the conversation when I first started my first video, neither is it the conversation in the time since or now. So can we please get to the point of what this purpose was? Was there discrimination? Just in general for immigrants, not migrants, immigrants, not in the mass populace that are just invading countries, just in general, day-to-day families, day-to-day students going to school, and tourists going to those countries. That was all I wanted to know. And instead you try to give me an education that was not necessary, that I already was aware of, the trouble in European countries and America, as I have already said. So I am going to park this, and I'm not going to pay heed to any more of your migrant lectures, because there is no denying what is going on in the world. You neither have to be dead, and even if you were blind, you would still be aware of it if you had a functional brain at all. So I am not going to take heed of anything more that you have to say on that topic, because you're not listening to what I'm saying or what I'm asking. I wanted to know if British people, if Americans, if Australians, if those sorts of people who come from more civilized backgrounds were having issues as well with discrimination by people in Sweden for being their nationality, of whatever background they come from. that was the question, but no, that's gone straight over everybody's head. Everybody believes that they have a right to say migrant, migrant, migrant to no end. I agree, there are serious, serious issues. End off, I'd like to think. So we are not going to go over this anymore because I find the whole thing boring to death. And I also now know that we cannot penetrate into a stubborn mind that just believes that they're 100% right, and no other person on planet Earth has a right to exist. You've made that perfectly clear, so thank you so much for that. This is why I wanted to cover, so we can have balance. You don't need to be balanced. I like to be balanced in my life. So that doesn't mean that if a American said something really horrible to me or did something really bad to me, then I think all Americans are that way. I don't, because I don't think it's a good mindset to have, and I don't think it's a good way to navigate my life moving forward, and shutting myself off to a certain either race or country, because I don't see the benefit of it. But if that's how you feel about navigating your world and your life, by all means, carry on. On to next time, I will keep doing some more research and bring you hopefully more exciting topics, and we don't have to beat this one to death anymore. If you really feel the need to be incendiary in your comments, I will not be publishing any more of them, because I think we have really beat this horse to death and then some. So by all means,